Yeah, I'm gonna get to this later in the show, but go ahead and just play that clip.
There's also a lot of history in February. A number of community members reached out to me just a few days ago. Was Japanese Day of Remembrance, something for us to certainly reflect on as we learn our history and think about it. The days when Iwo Jima unfortunately happened and set a record for really what I hate to say human evil is capable of. And so that's something just to remember, especially actually in advance of Holocaust Remembrance Day, which is coming up, and just so many moments for us to think about what human beings are capable of and how we can turn the tide and turn the trajectory to make sure that we're building better for the next generation.
Okay. So that's a school board member. And she's Muslim. And she said that Iwo Jima, which unfortunately happened, and these evil things, she referred to it as being evil. Now, Iwo Jima, of course, as you know, was a pivotal battle. It's a bloody, bloody battle between Japanese forces and American GIs. American Marines on Iwo Jima and in the Pacific. There were two islands there. It was Iwo Jima and Chichi-jima. And little point of, let's talk about the evil things that were going on. On Chichi-jima, Japanese soldiers, Japanese officers, when they would catch American POWs and capture POWs, the practice was to not only behead them with their samurai sword or their sabers, but also to eat their organs. So they were engaged in cannibalism. George H.W. Bush, his plane actually went down just off the coast of Chichi-jima, and it was a race actually between the rescue boat to pick him up and the Japanese patrol boats to pick him up. He was literally yards from being taken captive on Chichi-jima. And of course, Iwo Jima, one of the bloodiest battles of World War II, was a great victory. You've seen the images of the flag being raised and by those Marines. And so to refer to that as being evil is not only to not know your history, but it is a transformational and fundamental brainwashing of it, to think that this is the person who is sitting on a school board somewhere in America and referring to Iwo Jima as being something that is evil, something that happened unfortunately. Any loss of life, of course, is unfortunate, but that's not what she's saying. She's referring to this almost as though this was an event. If I'm understanding her context, that this is an event that should have never happened. No, it absolutely should have happened. It had to happen. Now, it's interesting, and Chris found this, that 9 years after the Battle of Iwo Jima, you'd go in and sit down in an American movie theater, and they would play the reels at the beginning. During World War II, everything was, about supporting the war effort, and there were these PSA announcements. Well, Chris found one, interestingly enough, 9 years after Iwo Jima. This is what they were playing in American theaters. Pay attention. Play the clip.
Iwo Jima, the 8-square-mile Pacific island where on historic Mount Suribachi, a monument commemorates the 1945 assault that cost the United States nearly 5,000 dead. To this scene of immortal Marine heroism come new Marines in an amphibious landing exercise. Supported by sailors, soldiers, and waves of aircraft, they will be coming in for a graphic display of American striking power. The Chief of the U.S. Far Eastern Command, General John E. Hull, witnesses the drill. As the landing fleet approaches, the pages of history turn back to 1945, D-Day, February 19th, and the 26 days of battle to secure a vital base on the bombing lanes to Japan. Nearly 23,000 defenders had to be faced, and the U.S. Marines did the job, men of the 3rd, 4th, and 5th Marine Divisions. And today it is the 3rd Division, full strength, some 20,000 men, which storms the Iwo Beach again. Operation Flag Hoists it is called, largest amphibious maneuver in the Western Pacific since World War II. Most are young Marines. They heard of Iwo as boys. Now they are part of its tradition. They know now the meaning of these scenes, again out of the past that was 9 years ago, when the American flag was raised on Mount Suribachi by the hands of democracy.
Now, I know there's going to be those who, you've seen or perhaps read James Bradley's book, Flags of Our Fathers, and, of course, the Clint Eastwood directed movie based on the book. And you're going to say, oh, well, them raising the flag on Suribachi, that was all one big propaganda move. They wanted that to be able to raise awareness of the war effort. It was a photo op. I understand some of that went on. But, again, you can't take away the sacrifice that happened there at Iwo Jima and then turn around and call that evil, okay? It's amazing to me to compare what we just watched with now, okay? So these men took Iwo Jima at a cost of about 5,000 lives, American lives. And then years after that, they're going back doing training exercises in the same place. Now, compare that with today where you have a traumatic experience and you don't want to revisit that. This was a different time, this was a different metal. This was a different type of person. They took them back to the scene of the horrors of war to train them, to show them this is what we encountered. This was the terrain. This is where men died. This is where this happened. We're going to go back there consistently over and over again to show you what we did, and we're going to train in case we got to do it again. Again, this was before people were, a wide discussion of PTS or anything like that was happening. But just to go back and to recreate that as a training exercise just shows you how different we are as a society today, where everything is about tribulation avoidance. We don't want to go through trials. We don't want to be reminded of hard times. We don't. So she talks about it as this school board member talks about it as being an evil thing that should have never happened. But at that time, the Marines were taking men back to Iwo Jima saying, not only should it have happened, we want you to relive it.